appreciate everybody listening. Wanted to take a few moments. Didn't want to take much of your time, just a few moments to do what I believe I was told to do. And tell the next person, pass on this message to help us, people. Regardless of whether we like it or not, we coexist in this world together. And we, as individuals, need each other. I was riding down I-45 and I kept hearing beauty for ashes. Beauty for ashes. I didn't quite understand why it was so heavy on me, but I kept hearing beauty for ashes. And I asked God what it was. He said, because I'm going to give them beauty for ashes. I said, God, why do you have this so heavy on me? I'm just me. He said, because I want you to read the first verse, Isaiah 61, 1 through 3. And the first verse said, for the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me. He said, I'm anointing you to tell them that I'm going to give them beauty for their ashes. I said, God, how? My logical mind started going, how do you get beauty out of ashes? Ashes are usually a sign of destruction. It's usually a sign of things burning, something that probably once was beautiful, maybe. Whatever was their structure, that's no longer there. Ashes seem to say to one, chaos, or it's over, it's done, all I have are the ashes. How do you get beauty from ashes? And I started trying to figure it out. God took my mind back to something, because I didn't know how one could get beauty out of ashes. He took me back to watching Geographics and watching Hawaii, different islands and how they were formed. And I was surprised to know that they were formed out of volcano eruptions. Many of them were formed out of volcano eruptions. They showed a recent volcano eruption, and they were able to walk out of there. And there was ashes, tar, and burn everywhere. But then there was a little green that spurted up in between those heavily burned places. There was vegetation that had begun to grow around all of that. What am I saying? I'm saying that the most beautiful places on earth are birthed through the ashes of a volcano. He said, I'm going to give you beauty for ashes. What do you mean? There's hurts and there's pains. There's things that we are dealing with. That situations that all we see are ashes. Diagnosis, cancer, disease, sickness coming, mental stress, craziness everywhere around us, Many times things that we can't even do anything about. We're not even responsible for, but we're left to deal with the ashes. We're left to deal with the destruction. And God said, just wait a little while. I'm going to give you beauty for ashes. And I said, God, how are we going to get past a volcano eruption of life? How do we get past the mourning, the hurt, the pain, the sorrow that comes with dealing with things that a lot of times is not even our fault? He said, I've given you 2 weapons to get past this. If you read on, it'll tell you that he gives you the oil of joy. I said, God, what does oil do for us, and why is it joy in oil? I was reminded again of watching wrestlers. And there were some wrestlers back in the old days that used to oil their bodies. And they would oil their bodies not just for the shine and the look, but they would oil their bodies because the opponent would grab them and they could easily escape. They could easily escape from the clutches of the enemy because they had oil upon them. God said, I'm going to give you the joy of the victory. Ooh, I'm going to give you the ability to escape the clutches of the enemy, the clutches of your situation, the clutches of your problems, the clutches that seem to grip you and won't let you go. He said, I'm going to give you the oil of joy. The second weapon that he's going to give you, he said, I'm going to give you a garment of praise. I said, well, God, what is the garment of praise? He said, because you don't dress for where you're at, you dress for where you're going. Ooh, you get dressed in your pajamas because you're going to bed. You get dressed for work because you're going to work. You get dressed for this in the suit because you're going to the office. You get dressed for put on your football pads because you're going to the field. You don't dress for where you are. You dress for where you're going. And he said, I'm going to give you the victory. I'm going to dress you in praise. See, you can't praise when you don't have the victory. You can't praise when you don't see the win. But he said, listen, I'm going to give you the praise, the garment of praise. In other words, I'm going to give you what you're getting ready to go to. I'm going to give you the victory right now. I want you to understand that there is beauty in ashes. Wait a little while. A lot of us, oftentimes, we lose because we don't wait a little while. That volcano erupted, and for a moment there was nothing but ashes. But wait a little while. A little plant started to grow. Looked around and there was vegetation growing sporadically in different places, green, and it was a stark contrast to that black tar and ash that covered the rest of the area. But you knew it was getting ready to be something beautiful. I want you to understand, don't give up just because you see the ashes. God is going to give you beauty in ashes. Dry your eyes, lift your head, put you some oil on. Clothe yourself with praise. And let's get through this. Beauty for ashes.